stretch, Tom.
Strong boy. Strong boy. Strong teeth.
Sorry, let me just pop these gently down here, unlike some previous Cultaholic champions. Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our AEW times New Japan Forbidden Door pay-per-view predictions.
Pay-per-view. We are paying per view.
Certainly are. I am your reigning Cultaholic undisputed champion, Cowboy Andrew, joined by the man who some would say afforded me these titles, Mr. Tom Campbell. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Now, the Cultaholic Tribal Chief, Adam Pacitti, wanted another match for those belts.
Yeah.
He did submit a rematch application, but it's covered in this sort of weird equestrian fluid, and nobody can really read it, so I think I'll just have a go instead.
Yeah.
I'll have a little crack at those championships.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Let's crack on with the predictions. So first up on the buy-in, we have the Gun Club and Max Caster versus the New Japan Dojo team. And Tom, who are you going to go for in the first one?
Now, I think they're going to set the table here for a possible New Japan upset. Whilst it's not strictly New Japan versus AEW all night long, there's a bit of mixing and matching. I think giving New Japan a strong win on the buy-in kind of sets the precedent for anything could happen in the next couple of hours. It's an AEW pay-per-view, so it'll probably be 10. So I'm going to predict that the New Japan Dojo are going to pull out a surprise win here, despite the popularity of the Gun Club at the moment. I'm picking the Dojo. Who you got and why?
Tom, do you want to put your fingers like that for me, please? Scissor me, Daddy! Scissor me! I'm going for the acclaimed, Max Caster and the Gun Club to pick up a nice win on the pre-show. Because, you know what? They're so over right now, Tom. They are so over. The crowd absolutely love them. And I think, as always with a pre-show, it doesn't always go this way, however. With a pre-show, you like to get the crowd absolutely in the spirits for the whole entire thing going forward. And other than that, you know, that's why I see the Gun Club and Max Caster picking up the win.
That's a good shout, that. The IWGP Heavyweight Championship is on the line. Switchblade Jay White defends against Kazuchika Okada, Hangman Adam Page, and Adam Cole Bay Bay. Who have you got and why?
Oh, this was close to my heart, this one, Tom, because there's a lot of my favourites in this match. However, the Switchblade era has just begun with Jay White's win at Dominion over Okada to pick up the belt in the first place. I see Jay White's reign continuing for a very, very long time. I might even see the Bullet Club being quite dominant. We'll see throughout this entire pay-per-view, but very much so. There's so many high value names in this match, but again, there's always the opportunity for someone to get a cheeky roll-up or something. Most likely Jay White to retain his IWGP Heavyweight Championship. What about you?
Yeah, like the cholesterol fuzz around my arteries, this also is very close to my heart. I really enjoyed watching some of the stuff that's been going on with Hangman Page. I think he's got a really good story as of late. I liked him calling out for the IWGP champion, wanting to fight Okada. Seeing Okada rock up on Dynamite was quite special. But with all of this going on, I'm kind of with you.
Yeah?
I don't think this is the end of Switchblade Jay White's time as IWGP champ. He's only been doing it for like 10 minutes at this point. This is going to be one of those nights where Switchblade picks up the win and can forever have the braggadocious rights of saying, I beat Okada, Page and Cole in one night.
Oh, that is nice.
That is something he can hang his hat on, isn't it? So Jay White to retain the IWGP Championship.
Lovely. Next up, we had the dudes with attitudes. Sting, Darby Allin, Hiromu Takahashi, and Shingo Takagi versus Bullet Club, the Young Bucks, El Phantasmo, and Hikuleo. Tom, who are you going for?
Sorry, just being clean. I've got loads to get rid of. You'll love it.
Okay.
So for this one, I mean, the dudes with attitudes name is something I'm especially fond of.
Yeah.
As Jack Atkins from the Cultaholic Classic Raw review would agree, Shawn Michaels, Diesel as the dudes with attitudes is a special part of our soul. I'm going with the dudes here. I feel
Yeah?
like it's a nice feel-good win. It's the return of Sting. And as Jackin said, actually, before we came here, Darby Allin hasn't won on pay-per-view in a good long
For a
while.
long while, yeah.
So I feel like this is the time to give the dudes with attitudes the Windsor-doos. Who have you got and why?
Who's have you got?
Who's your doos?
I have also got...
and why's
I've also got the dudes with attitude. Now, as I was saying in the previous prediction, I was kind of drawn on this one because will the Bullet Club have a dominant reign over this entire evening? And I don't know, but I'm not saying them because you're right. Sting has just come back from an injury, and part of me, like what Ross said yesterday in pitches, I really want to see him come out with the Wolfpack, the red and black face paint, see Darby painted like that as well. There's just something in that. There's something in that that just gets me tantalised. My downstairs area is a tingling. That's absolutely right. So I'm going to go with, also, yes, you've got the Bucks who have just recently won the AEW tag team titles. Would it be a bit silly to see them score a loss here? They don't necessarily have to get the loss, do they? Someone else can get pinned.
No, they can get away with doing it with that.
So, yes, I'm going to go with the dudes with attitudes.
Winner take all. The ROH Tag Team Champions FTR take on the Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb and Roppongi Vice, Trent and Rocky Romero. Don't sniff it.
I just seeing what it is.
I mean, do you want... I've got buckets of it that we never used during Hell in a Cell. Do you want some? It's really good for the complexion.
I'm okay.
I'll tell you what's good for the complexion as well. A winner-take-all match for multiple tag team titles. Who have you got and why?
FTR! Oh. I'm going for FTR. They've been on the up and up and up and up. They are over like Rover right now, Tom. And we also saw Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice pick up a win on Dynamite last night. And that makes me think they could very well be out of the equation. And I just feel like you can't take away the momentum of FTR right now because they're on such a roll. And that is the reason that I'm going to go for them. How about yourself?
Do you know what? I think I might get laughed at the building at this one, but I think Cobb and O'Khan.
I mean,
I don't know why. I've got a vibe that, that FTR are on a tear. They absolutely are. But I think that tear will lead to them becoming AEW Tag Champions again.
Ooh, okay.
And I think there's something about Cobb and O'Khan that can maybe, with them having the ROH tag titles as well as the IWGP ones, certainly makes it a little bit of intrigue for when Ring of Honor restarts to have those belts on that show as well. I don't think they'll have them for a long time, but I think they'll have them for a good time. I'm going Cobb and O'Khan. Come on, big boys. Batter them all.
Next up is a six-man tag team match, I tell thee, Tom. It's Eddie Kingston, Shota Umino, and Wheeler Yuta versus Chris Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara. Who have you got?
I think this is the time for Eddie Kingston to kill Chris Jericho.
Come on, man!
I'm just going to kill you. Kingston's been on the back foot with Jericho quite a bit, and I feel like that this is the chance for Kingston to score, his team at least, to score a win over Chris Jericho's team. And then obviously we've got Blood and Guts around the corner, which may lead to Jericho maybe picking up the win at Blood and Guts. Possibly. I mean, they may do it the other way around, but I've got a feeling that Eddie's team are going to pick up the win. I kind of feel like in a weird way, this particular match, whilst it's on pay-per-view, is a kind of go-home show for Blood and Guts. Yeah. If you see what I mean.
I completely get what you mean.
So I think Eddie's team winning here, but then Jericho winning at Blood and Guts sets up for more nonsense down the road. Who have you got and why?
I'm going to go for Chris Jericho's team to win. Because I think it's the opposite. I think we see the heels get the win once again. Eddie Kingston seems down and out, but guess what? He's got Blood and Guts, everybody, and he's absolutely going to one of them to Chris Jericho's head until it's broken open and all his magic brains are falling out. Yeah, I can just see this going over. I think there's something to... Do you know what? There's something to Eddie Kingston always being on the back foot that makes him just this incredible babyface when he finally does pick up the win. And I think Blood and Guts is a very definitive way. Hopefully, I've got my fingers crossed that this feud is done with because I'm very much well over the whole Wizard Chris Jericho thing right now. And I think we see, the final two, it's going to be face-to-face, Kingston and Jericho in Blood and Guts, and Kingston's absolutely just going to obliterate him. So, I think to add a little bit more fire in Eddie Kingston's downstairs, I'm saying the downstairs bit quite a bit today, I think we have Jericho picking up the win with his team here.
Incidentally, if you have got fire in your downstairs, I'd highly recommend getting some cream. Maybe some penicillin.
Yes.
The American Dragon is off Forbidden Door. It's going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus a mystery opponent whom will also be revealed as the newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. Who have you got and why?
So, for the mystery member, Tom, I'm going for Claudio Castagnoli. I think there was a little bit of something to what Danielson was saying last night on Dynamite. He very much called out Kingston's name. And I think that might be a little tease as to Claudio turning up in AEW. Now we know that Claudio's an absolutely phenomenal technical wrestler as well, something that Danielson was very much saying last night this person would be. And to go against Zack Sabre Jr., that would be an absolute dream match for me. However, now I don't know if I'm being silly in thinking this. I think Zack Sabre Jr. picks up the win here. I think even if it might be in some sort of dubious means, perhaps, but I can see Zack Sabre Jr. picking up the win here, so then it can roll over to finally having Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. down the line.
Oh, okay. I like your thinking. Slightly different to what I think I'm thinking.
What do you think you're thinking?
Okay, so newest member of the Blackpool Combat Club. And thanks again to Jackins from Cultaholic.com, yes, who from the Cultaholic Classic Raw review, who suggested Timothy Thatcher. Got to be very careful saying Thatcher in the northeast of England.
You certainly do.
You may get sucked into the upside down. I think Thatcher is a great shout. He's done stuff for Pro Wrestling Noah recently.
He has recently, yeah.
And there's, whilst they're in other companies, there is still like a little bit of worky relationship in the past between Noah and Japan and stuff like that. So that could be, there's no harm in that happening. And I think Thatcher's beaten Zack Sabre Jr. to set up something with Thatcher and Zack down the road. Because whilst I am clamouring to see Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr., I kind of get the vibe that Bryan might be out for a little longer than we think.
Yeah,
so
me
let's
too.
have something with Zack that we can keep him ticking over with. And I think it's going to be a little dust-up involving Timothy Thatcher.
Do you know what, as well? I think Thatcher's the kind of gritty, dirty person. No, I'm not saying he's dirty, everybody. I'm saying he does wash. But I think he's the kind of gritty person who would fit so perfectly into the Combat Club too. You might be on the money with that one.
Do you know, as we're stood recording this, it's just dawned on me.
Oh.
What if it's William Regal? No, it can't be. Because he's a new member of the Combat Club.
Yeah.
I can't be Regal.
That would have been I wanted to punch your arm in, Tom. I wanted to punch your arm in excitement, but I won't. I'll restrain myself.
Every bit of iron flowing in my veins. Nah, okay, I'm sticking with Thatcher.
Nice.
And you're sticking with Claudio?
Yes, I certainly am.
Good luck with that.
Next up for the inaugural AEW All-Atlantic Championship, we have Pac versus Miro versus Malakai Black versus Tomohiro, Ishii, and Tom. Who are you going for in this, bad lad?
It's going to be Warpack, innit?
Oh, really?
Jordy Dancer, Shira, etc. I think Pac is long overdue getting himself a bit of gold in AEW.
Okay.
And he's had a few shots at the world title, not quite always the bridesmaid, never the bride in that regard. I think have him representing the concept of All Atlantic and other oceans. So they couldn't fit on the belt. I'm all for this.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Pac like representing the championship.
That would be very good.
And defending it against Fish.
Oh.
Not Bobby Fish, but Fish in the Atlantic.
Just Fish in the ocean.
Yeah. I'm defending it in the Atlantic. Come at me, Fish. You're so lucky I wasn't on 9 pitches yesterday.
Oh, if only. If only.
Pac for me.
Yeah.
Who you got? Why?
I'm going to go for, my heart wants to say Miro, Tom. My heart wants to say Miro because I think Miro very much deserves it and I think he'd be an absolutely dominant champion. My head is saying Malakai Black. Malakai Black has been somewhat inconsistently booked since coming to AEW. We kind of think, he's starting to get a little bit of a push, and then it kind of gets brought back down a little bit again, and we don't know what's going on here and there, and things just seem a little bit all over the place at the moment. So I'm going to say Malakai Black because I think he genuinely very much deserves it. I think there's something to be had with the House of Black being very dominant in AEW, and to show that dominance, to have Malakai Black with that new title across its waist. Ooh, that would be a nice visual for me. I also think this could be a factor due to something else down the line that we'll get to in another match that we have got our predictions for. So I'm going to go with Malakai Black.
I like how he's getting the belt because he's been badly booked.
Yeah.
Wrestling. The AEW Women's Championship on the line. It is Thunder Rosa defending against Toni Storm. Who you got and why?
Got my best mate who liked to tweet and follows me on Twitter, Thunder Rosa. There's just been something about this so far, hasn't there, where she's not really had much time on TV since winning the belt. We've had some matches here and there, and they've been good as well. They've been good affairs. However, I think it'd be too soon to take the belt off Rosa yet. I think she's got such a good run in her, and I think the cogs are starting to finally sort of turn in that favour as well, and I think we're actually finally going to start seeing that, especially against a competitor like Toni Storm too. I think they're absolutely going to tear the roof off the building. Would it be incredible to see Toni win the belt? Absolutely. I think she'd be a phenomenal champion. I think she'd represent the brand amazingly. I don't think it's time just yet. So I think Thunder Rosa keeps the belt. We know she's off to Japan as well for a little bit, and it would be amazing to showcase the AEW Women's Championship across the pond in different promotions here and there. I think that would be a very good look for AEW, at least anyway. So what about yourself?
A big part of my reason is what you said there. I'm picking Thunder Rosa to retain it as well because she's got this tour in Japan.
Yeah.
I think they like the idea of having that belt represented over in Japan for a bit as well. And also, like, Thunder Rosa is like she's been fairly consistent on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there's been a couple of incidents in other TV matches. The whole thing with Marina Shafir recently.
Yeah.
But overall, like, she's putting the shift in on pay-per-view. I feel like, and I don't see any reason why Toni Storm should win now.
Yeah.
I don't really feel the push behind Storm. So I think this is another win for Rosa. And then maybe we need to move into a story with a bit more meat on the bone for Thunder Rosa.
I agree.
Desperately now.
Next up for the IWGP United States title, we have Will Ospreay, the champion, defending his belt against the man who puts his hands in his pants, Tom. Orange Cassidy. Who are you going for?
Now, first of all, for those who are kicking off and saying this match is going to be shut up! It's fine. It's going to be good because Ospreay and Pac had a belter, and I believe Ospreay and Cassidy will have a great time.
Absolutely.
You know, Ospreay and Pac, Cassidy and Pac. I knew what I meant. Shut up. Pac and Cassidy had a banger.
So passionate.
It annoys when people go, "Oh, it's going to be rubbish because Orange Cassidy."
No. Absolutely.
Shut up. It's going to be good. Just shut up. But I don't think Orange Cassidy's winning.
No,
I think this is Will Ospreay, another journey for Will Ospreay to showcase himself in AEW. I think they'll have a fun match. I think it'll be a bit silly at points. I think it'll be very serious at points. I think Orange Cassidy will try, and I think that Will Ospreay will retain. Yeah. Who have you got and why?
Absolutely agree with you there, Tom. I think it's going to be a really competitive match, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. However, it shouldn't surprise people because, as you said, we've seen Pac and Cassidy before. That was fantastic. We've seen Kenny Omega, Pac and Cassidy before. That was incredible too. We actually thought for a second he was going to win the AEW World Championship, and however, that didn't come to be. But you know what? I think he's going to put an absolute showing in tonight. And granted, he might not be booked in the way that people sort of think of him as like a competitive wrestler, you know. Obviously, he's very much the comedic value a lot of the time. But however, when we do see him bring out his moveset, my goodness, is it fun to watch. And I think Ospreay and Cassidy it's like peanut butter and jam. Ooh, so good together. So I'm very much looking forward to it. But yeah, I think Will Ospreay is going to pick up the win and retain his IWGP United States Championship.
It's the international hand gesture for peanut butter and jam now.
That's it.
The AEW Interim Champion will be decided between Jon Moxley and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Who have you got and why, Andrew?
I don't know if I'm being a silly boy with this one, Tom.
You are never a silly boy.
Well, I mean, debatable. I'm going for Hiroshi Tanahashi to win.
Silly, relatable boy.
I'm a silly boy. We know that Tanahashi is in the G1 though, so that could contradict my pick here. However, I think there's something to be had in a storyline where the belt goes back to Japan, right? We have some factors that could potentially be in this little scenario here, you know. We've got MJF and Jay White, who are two of the biggest heels at the moment in wrestling, and how much of, I guess, an upset for loyal AEW fans would it be if the belt went back to Japan? If MJF cost Jon Moxley the belt, or if Jay White, you know, the man who's very much like there wouldn't be an AEW without me, if he caused something to happen where the belt goes back to Japan too, I think there's something in that. And I also think there could be something in Jon Moxley kind of chasing after that belt until the program with CM Punk, when CM Punk comes back after his foot is recovered, for him to come back and finally beat Tanahashi in the end. And then perhaps we could get like Jon Moxley and CM Punk in a match 2 down the line. I might be thinking far too much into this. Perhaps I am thinking far too much into this, because again, it would be incredible to see Jon Moxley become a 2-time AEW World Champion as well. Like, the crowd would go bananas for that, I think. But yeah, I'm going for Tanahashi to pick up the win in this one. And, you know, then again, I guess if Jay White or MJF got involved, perhaps Tanahashi wouldn't look like as much of a babyface. But we've got to, I'm just thinking on the fly here,
You're really going through it.
The cogs, all the equations are starting to come up on the screen right now. Maybe he wouldn't be seen as much of a babyface as he is already if one of those got involved. However, I'm sticking to my guns. So I'm going for Tanahashi. Who are you going for?
Moxley. Coming up later on, I'll give a bit more. Moxley, because we were originally going to see Punk versus Tanahashi.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think, had that match gone ahead, I don't think Tanahashi would have left with the title.
No.
I think that'd have been Punk retaining. So I kind of think there's an element of maintaining a status quo by having, instead of Tanahashi losing to Punk, have Tanahashi lose to Moxley.
Ooh.
I think Jon Moxley as the AEW champion, it raises the ire of raises the stakes with the Blackpool Combat Club. It gives us a working champion on AEW television, which I think they're very keen about, and you know, it gives us a match between Punk and Moxley when he gets back. CM Punk has said on many occasions, I've never wrestled Jon Moxley. And it's true. He's wrestled Dean Ambrose, but he hasn't wrestled Jon Moxley.
Very true.
It's mentally a different thing.
Yes.
I think Moxley's leading with the AEW World Championship.
Ooh.
I think they'll have a banger.
I think they absolutely will. It'll be amazing either way. What was that?
Did the Yorkshire Ghost just come out of your mouth?
It did.
How much?
And that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our AEW times New Japan Forbidden Door predictions video. We'll have plenty of content going up over the weekend. Myself and Tom will be doing the live reactions for the pay-per-view on Sunday. You'll also have What Happened At coming up not long after the pay-per-view is concluded. And Ross will be here with WTF moments for you too. And there's loads of lovely list content and all other sorts of stuff going up over the weekend. So keep your peepers peeled for that. And Tom, what on earth are you doing?
Winning them belts, mate. See you, pet.